you think if we can survive without it, then we have a good reason to kill them anyway? You don't think so? But a lot of what we're showing is what happens on the day those chickens are born.
Yeah.
Because you probably know what I'm saying, only females will produce eggs, but there's an equal number of male and females born.
Right.
That's the way biology tends to work.
Right.
So because those males can't produce eggs, they're seen as a waste product to the egg industry. And they'll be put on that conveyor belt and dropped into a macerator. They'll ground up alive on the day that they're born.
Oh, wow.
Just simply because they won't be able to make a profit for that industry. And the girls,
That's crazy.
that's what happens to the girls on the same day. They're put on a separate conveyor belt and will be attached to a machine which holds their head in place and cuts their beaks off with no anesthetic.
It's like they're not.
Do you know why we might do that to them? Can you take a guess maybe? Why we would have
can't hurt each other?
Right. And the reason they would hurt each other is because the conditions we keep egg-laying hens in are so stressful, and they can't perch, they can't graze, it's so crowded. They're just out of their own anxiety and stress. They'll start to peck at each other. They would never do that in the wild naturally. So we put them in these conditions where we deem it necessary to cut their beaks off. You know?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And these chickens, whereas naturally in the wild would have laid 12 eggs a year, which is very similar to the human menstrual cycle, really. These chickens have been selectively bred over hundreds of years to lay over 300 eggs a year.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, so even in the case of like a cage-free organic farm, these are chickens whose bodies are under extreme stress, constant cramping, constant pain. A lot of the time their bodies just get blocked up and they die young. I mean, it's just, their bodies can't really function. They can't support their own body weight.
Right. Oh, that's so sad.
It is, it's hard to watch.
Right. So then what's the solution? Not eat eggs or stopping these farms?
Well, can I ask you a question? When you say what's the solution, would you say that you disagree with what you're seeing?
No, I'm just wondering, are you just trying to raise awareness of it?
Yeah. Well,
or what's your goal? Obviously, is to raise awareness of the problem because most people don't know what's happening.
Firstly, it's just about education.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are paying for things without knowing what it is they're paying for.
Oh, absolutely.
I think I would wonder if most people are paying people to do things to animals we would never do to animals ourselves.
Right. Oh yeah.
And moreover, if I had brought a little chicken or a pig here with me, probably think it was really cute, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then if I pulled a knife out of my back pocket and was getting ready to kill it, what would you do? You would stop me, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I took that animal and I went behind a wall and I called it a slaughterhouse, would it become any more okay, any kinder, any more ethical?
Seeing it, right. So,
but just for you on a personal level, do you feel that is in any way a more ethical act?
No.
Right. So that's what we're doing. We're taking what happens behind walls and we're trying to bring it to the outside. Look, this is what's happening. This is what we pay for. We're paying for things most of us are morally against.
Absolutely.
Yet, the only reason these things are happening in the first place is because we pay for them.
Right.
We're creating a demand for something, and they're just fulfilling that. They're creating the supply for the demand we create. So it's education, something to get our gears turning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then part two.
Yeah.
Part two is if you see this and you just truly realize, man, I might actually be living in misalignment with my morals. Right? Then for someone who wanted to remove themselves from this industry, we're here to say, hey, there's a way to do that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is to essentially not buy these products.
Yeah.
You know? Whether it's egg or dairy or meat. We're here advocating for a vegan lifestyle because, you know, plant-based lifestyle.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Totally.
Do you know of anyone that's vegan or you know about veganism?
Yeah, I was actually just living in Costa Rica for the past 4 months, and a lot of the people that
Hold on,
I met
I'm jealous.
there,
I'm recovering. I'm recovering from jealousy right now.
And a lot of the people there are like all into that. Vegan, healthy lifestyles.
So you were just living amongst it.
Yes.
You guys too? Like, have you known anyone that was
My mom
vegan? Your mom's vegan?
My mom's vegan?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
It's a work in progress. Like she and my dad are both trying to go, but it's a bit of a work to get there.
It can feel really hard.
I could not do that. I love eggs way too much.
Yeah.
That would probably be the hardest
literally
thing.
something I eat every day is eggs. I could probably go without milk and no, cheese. I like cheese too much.
So I love eggs.
Yeah.
I love eggs.
Well, and they're a great source of protein.
Let me ask you a question though, because I also love the taste of eggs.
Yeah.
But we're talking about something that you were saying you would disagree with, you wouldn't want to do yourself, right? Do you think that getting sensory pleasure from something is enough to make it moral, to justify that act because it's pleasurable to you?
Probably not.
In your personal opinion,
It's just kind of hard because it's like eggs are in like everything.
Aren't there vegan like egg substitutes?
There's vegan. There's vegan everything.
That's what I thought.
There's vegan pancakes and cake and burritos and pancakes and vegan deli slices and vegan cheese and there's vegan everything.
Right.
Yeah. There's nothing that.
It's just making the switch.
And I when you say that, I completely feel like we're on the same page because I really loved eggs a lot. I ate them every morning. 3 eggs in the morning, turkey sandwich for lunch, burger for dinner. Like. Probably with an egg on it.
See, that I can do. I can do without the beef. I really don't like beef that much, but I don't. Again, I don't think I could go vegetarian. I could do cut it out a lot of the stuff and maybe have like one day that's like your meat day.
When you say you could, what you're really saying is you wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I eat a lot of wraps, and I enjoy turkey on there.
Well, I mean, you know what? I actually have to give you a lot of credit because I think you're talking about being okay with the idea of change in a way a lot of people really struggle with. Maybe you just saying your parents might struggle with in some ways. Yeah. It can feel really hard to change. And you're here saying, yeah, I could give up this and that, dairy and meat and beef. And so all that we're really talking about, one product that would still be a contribution. That's pretty amazing for you to be able to say.
Absolutely. That's so true.
It's just so hard to eat this way though too, because it's like they make it so that healthy food is expensive.
Yeah.
Even all the vegan substitutes, like it's not as accessible. There's a little tiny section, like one aisle in a grocery store. It's so much easier to go through the rest of it.
It's exactly true that if you
have to make a society change to make it more easy.
Well, what you're saying is true. Like if you go to the grocery store, the section with vegan meat and vegan cheese and those things, it's a very small area in a very large supermarket, right? However, I think if you get away from the mock meats and the vegan cheeses and you just go to like plant-based foods, now you're looking at the cheapest foods in the grocery store. Rice, beans, chickpeas, pasta, tomato sauce, potatoes. Like those are the cheapest foods possible, you know? And honestly, even something like soy milk might be 75 cents more. Vegan cheese might be $1.50 more. It's not you're not really breaking the bank with those things, you know?
I feel like I really don't even drink milk all that much. I'm more like big water person now.
Do you, in your lives, do you think there might be a way that for you to pay for, consume an animal or something that came from an animal in a way that you would say is ethical, that wouldn't contradict your existing morals, that might be ethical for you?
Well, what's up with when things say they're like organic eggs or stuff like that, or like cage-free eggs? You know, like what is that?
Organic just means the food that they're fed. So what you're seeing here
so that still happens.
That could be organic. Okay. Every single animal, whether it's cage-free, organic, pasture-raised, grass-fed, those are words that are sold to us to help us feel better about a product we're buying. All of those animals get loaded onto the same truck and are driven to the same slaughterhouse, have the same bolt gun fired through their skull, have the same knife slit across their throat. All at very young ages, you know, like egg-laying hens are killed when they're 1 or 2 years old, whereas chickens actually raised for meat are killed when they're 4 to 6 weeks old, and their natural lifespan is 10 years. Pigs are killed when they're 6 months old. Their natural lifespan is also 10 years. So that's the human equivalent of a 6-year-old.
That's crazy.
You know? Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah, I've seen a couple videos though of like all this stuff, and then you got all the other Monsanto GMO stuff.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Can I ask you guys a question? If we imagine the most ideal setting for an animal, maybe let's use a cow with an amazing life, with a first name, gets belly scratches, acres of land, perfect life that you can imagine, right? And then at a certain point, somebody comes up behind its back, or maybe it's asleep, and kills that animal. And
I feel like that's even more heartbreaking, because at that point, it's like we're treating it as a pet. You would never kill a dog. No. So how could you do it to a cow then? We do it, I don't know, I think we do this as protections. We don't get the feelings with it.
Do you think there's a difference between doing it to a cow and doing it to a dog or a cat?
Oh, definitely.
You do think there's a difference?
Okay, well, 2 people, because they're making, people don't have cows as pets. I mean, some people have farm too, but you know, like, you're seeing it as
you're right.
We have a friend. I would never shoot and eat her.
We have a different relationship to dogs and cats.
Yes,
do you think there is morally there's a difference on an ethical level? Do you think the life of a dog is more valuable than the life of another?
No.
Yeah. It's hard for me to believe that we could live in a world with something like racism, sexism, that form of discrimination, if from an early age we're taught that all lives are important, have value.
Yep.
You know, whether you're a man or a woman, gay or straight, wings or arms, beaks or lips, whatever form you take, your life is valuable. So I see a lot of the world's problems being addressed if we combat what we feed ourselves 3 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, if we're feeding ourselves with violence, how can we really have a peaceful world?